They're coming toward the top of the stretch, and it's Upstart. And Upstart has taken the lead now on the outside of Bluegrass Singer and turns for home in front in the Holy Bull. It is Upstart in front, leaving Bluegrass Singer behind, and then it's Frosted to the outside, followed by Juan and Bina, but Upstart is pulling away, and he is pulling away impressively to win the Holy Bull.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Down the Stretch. I'm Mark Asano. On this morning's show, we will review a trio of three-year-old races from Gulfstream. We'll take a look at another 3 stakes races for the sophomores going to the internal break. And we will welcome in 3 special guests, beginning with Mr. Keith Desormeaux, who tomorrow will bring back Breeders' Cup Juvenile Hero Texas Red for the San Vicente. He will be followed by Mr. Mike Maker, who will run Recent Claim Coomer in this afternoon's Sam Davis. And finally, a first-timer to the program, Mr. Chad Stewart, who's got a pair in the Sam Davis in Catalina Red and bandages. So all of that and much, much more if you stay with us for this, our January 31st edition of the program, which is being sponsored by Gulfstream Park, where today's feature race is the Allen Jerkins Turf Marathon. Gulfstream Park champions start here. Good morning once again. Welcome to the program on this sunny, cold, and windy final day of January, where Aqueduct has canceled racing on this Saturday. If you have not been out yet this morning, you may not want to right now. Settle in, relax, let it warm up a little bit because it is awfully cold. All right, let's get started. The New York State Gaming Commission has completed its investigation of Steve Asmussen. The only problem is we don't know the results. 1 week after Kentucky officials announced that they had exonerated Asmussen of abuse charges, New York officials, led by Dr. Scott Palmer, said the results of their investigation would be announced after commission members are informed of the results. This brings into play an interesting situation. Asmussen's name was tabled for the second year in a row from the Hall of Fame ballot because of these investigations. But with Kentucky having found the trainer innocent of all accusations, the Hall of Fame Executive Committee's decision to potentially allow Asmussen back on the ballot this year hinges on what the New York State investigation shows. So stay tuned. Speaking of the Gaming Commission, it has sanctioned Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott for 2 medication overages last fall. Mott has been suspended 15 days and fined $1,000 for overages of Banamine and Lasix in the horse Saratoga snacks. Now, according to the report, the overages were 10 times the legal limit. Bill Mott has appealed that ruling. And jockey Roman Chapa has been charged with a felony for allegedly carrying an electrical device during a recent stakes race at Sam Houston. Chapa was twice previously suspended for carrying an illegal buzzer. You've got to wonder how this man is allowed to continue to ride. Hall of Famer John Nayrud, who will turn 102 years young next month, won a race recently at Aqueduct with a horse he bred and owns. How great is that? Nayrud commented, and I'm quoting, "I won with the first horse I ever owned and bred, and I've won with the last horse I owned and bred, and I've had a few good ones in between." End quote. Congratulations and an early happy birthday to John Nayrud. And finally, Eblouissant, the half-sister to Zenyatta, has been retired and will be sent to Europe to be bred, possibly to the great Frankel. Eblouissant went only 2 for 7 during a career in which her temperament caused numerous problems on the racetrack. All right, our race of the past week, the Holy Bull. A field of 9, 3 of them took all the money. The 3-2 favorite, number 1, Frosted, coming out of a second in the Remsen. The 2-1 second choice, number 8, Upstart, a good third from a brutal post in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And the 3-1 third choice, number 4, Bluegrass Singer, the winner of the 1 mile Mucho Macho Man over the track. This was his 2-turn dirt debut. As I said to a friend of mine, I think they made the wrong favorite. For the call of the Holy Bull, here's Larry Colmus.
They're off in the Lamb Home South Holy Bull. And it's Frosted with early speed. Bluegrass Singer a little bit quicker early, and Bluegrass Singer will take the lead in the run to the first turn, and Frosted will sit right behind. His first down moves up into second. Upstart caught 3 wide, running in third. Juan and Bina hard to control early, throwing his head up and down on that first turn. Decision Day goes up on the outside, and then it's Keen Ice, followed by Fremento and High Noon Riders at the back. 6 lengths off the lead as they go to the back stretch, where Bluegrass Singer and Javier Castellano will make the pace over first down and Upstart. They went 24-2 for the opening quarter mile. Decision Day is fourth on the outside. Frosted is running in fifth along the rail, 3 lengths off of Bluegrass Singer. Then Juan and Bina on the inside. Keen Ice is after that. Fremento and High Noon Rider. So they continue up the backstretch here, and Bluegrass Singer is still up top. The lead is 3/4 of a length over first down, while Upstart is third to the outside, a moderate half mile of 48 4/5 seconds. Frosted is backed off a bit. He's 3 lengths behind in the race to the far turn. And then it's Juan and Bina, and the others have been separated at this point around the far turn. And Upstart comes up alongside of Bluegrass Singer. And these two are now nose to nose off the lead. And Frosted gets going in third. Frosted 2.5 lengths off of them. Juan and Bina fourth on the outside. First down retreats in fifth, and they're coming toward the top of the stretch. And it's Upstart. And Upstart has taken the lead now on the outside of Bluegrass Singer, and turns for home in front in the Holy Bull. It is Upstart in front, leaving Bluegrass Singer behind, and then it's Frosted to the outside, followed by Juan and Bina, but Upstart is pulling away, and he is pulling away impressively to win the Holy Bull.
Upstart, Rick Violet, fine ride from Jose Ortiz, parlays a good stalking trip into an authoritative 5.5 length victory over favored Frosted. Bluegrass Singer, who set a steady pace, weakened to third. Now, breaking from a tricky outside post with a short run into the first turn, Upstart was positioned in as good a spot as you could realistically expect, having started from post 8. Although he was 3 wide, he appeared to be very comfortable stalking Bluegrass Singer with first down in between them. Now, you never know how a comebacking runner is going to finish off the layoff. This was Upstart's first race in 12 weeks. But as his trainer Rick Violet told us on last week's show, his final pre-Holy Bull workout of 1:12-1 breezing was outstanding. And even though he wasn't prepared to show his best on January 24th, Violet was confident that Upstart was ready to run well. And run well he did. With a final 2.5 furlongs in 31.12 over a Gulfstream surface which I don't think was lightning fast, Upstart drew away to win by 5.5. Frosted, who took some dirt while being down inside, ran pretty well to be second, although he never threatened at any point. Bluegrass Singer held third, but despite his trainer Marcus Vitale saying he thought the effort was good, I didn't really like it very much. He appears more of a sprinter miler to me. Just doesn't look like he wants to settle in rate. Just my opinion. Now, I mentioned to you prior to watching the race, I thought the bettors made the wrong favorite. Now listen, I could have been wrong, but I'm not viewing the Remsen as much of a stakes race You know, I just don't think there was that much in there, and Frosted came out of the Remsen. Now, granted, Frosted raced wide that day over a track which was favoring inside speed, but I'm viewing that race overall with skepticism. I'm not skeptical about Upstart. I selected him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in spite of a near impossible post. And I think more than most handicappers, I put a great deal of credence into post position. I think this is a very talented colt. Now, we're going to have to find out if he continues to improve and move forward as the waters get deeper as we head toward the first Saturday in May. You know, I don't know how much. I think Frosted's a nice colt, but I don't know how much else there was in there. Apparently, the winner came out of the race very, very well, and Rick Violet is looking at a couple of options. The February 21st Fountain of Youth, right there at Gulfstream. He doesn't have to ship. Or if Rick needs a little more time, he can wait till the March 7th Gotham in New York. One of those races likely to be the next start for Upstart, but that's a nice way to come back and make your 3-year-old debut. Now, speaking of the Remsen, Leave the Light On, who rode a golden rail to victory that day, will be sidelined for a while and will miss the Triple Crown. Leave the Light On injured a hind ankle in a recent workout, and according to his trainer, Chad Brown, will need a couple of months off. And Mothuk, a disappointing third in the recent Mucho Macho again, and pointing originally for next Saturday's Withers, has a tendon problem and will be sidelined for an indefinite time. So there's 2 3-year-olds. We don't know how good they would have been leading up to the first Saturday in May, but Leave the Light On, a stakes winner, and Mothuk, who was stakes place, both will be sidelined. Now, on the Holy Bull undercard, an entry-level allowance at 1 mile for 3-year-olds saw Gorgeous Bird, number 2, moving to the leaders on the far outside, rally from far back to win going away by 7 lengths. The son of Unbridled Song out of Elusive Bird is trained by Ian Wilkes from Mary Lou Whitney. He had broken his maiden in his last race, his second career start, back on November 22nd at Churchill, going 7/8. And here, despite the fact that the pace collapsed, he looked good rolling to victory. You would think a stakes race would be next for Gorgeous Bird, a good-looking allowance winner last Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Also on last Saturday's card at Gulfstream, a maiden sprint for 3-year-olds saw first-time starter Kozan, number 14, moving to the leaders on the outside, look good, rallying to beat Kieran's firster, number 9, Wisecracker, by an expanding 3 3/4 lengths. Kozan, trained by Todd Pletcher, is by Distorted Humor in Out of Delta Princess, making him a half-brother to multiple champion Royal Delta. Favorite at 19-10, Kozan made that price look like pretty good value. Now, the runner-up Wisecracker, also a son of Distorted Humor, I thought ran well to be second. I don't think he's going to be a maiden for very long. The 7/8 in that maiden race was 123.63, which was faster, substantially, than both the Hutchison and the Forward Gal. And we are up to our first break on this January 31st edition of the show. Thank you so much for having joined us. When we return, Mr. Keith Desormeaux will join us as we go to the break. The aforementioned Hutchison, 7-10 favorite, number 7 Barbados, who had upset the spectacular bid in last. He was stretching out a furlong. So we will take a look at the Hutchison to the break. Back with Keith Desormeaux right after these messages.
They're off in the Hutchison. And it's XY Jet who comes out running on the lead. Barbados away second to the outside. And then it's Richard the Great taken in hand and trying to squeeze through Bridget's Big Lovey. Got caught in a bit of traffic there and had to steady as Dom the Bomb now goes up toward the front. Big Family is at the back of the field as they run up the backstretch. XY Jet the leader. Dom the Bomb 2 lengths behind in second. Barbados is third. Bridget's Big Lovey and right alongside Richard the Great. They're 5 lengths off the lead, clear of Big Family. 22 and 4 was the quarter as they race past the half-mile pole. It is XY Jet and Edgard Zayas out there in front. The heavy favorite Barbados set sail in second. And then dropping back is Dom the Bomb. Richard the Great goes by. Big Family is next and Bridget's Big Lovey around the far turn. And Barbados bearing down on XY Jet. XY Jet still the leader by a length. Ran a 45 and 1/2 mile. Barbados ever closer with every stride, and the two of them will turn for home together. XY Jet and Barbados. Big Family is moving up outside of Richard the Great, but they're far behind the top two. Barbados on the outside. XY Jet not giving in just yet. Barbados has a slight lead. XY Jet on the inside fights him to the finish. Barbados and XY Jet coming down to the line together, and Barbados has won the Hutchison by a neck. XY Jet was second, and then it was Big Family and Richard the Great.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
There's nothing like the thrill and excitement of horse racing. And now, the new home for all the best racing and all the top tracks is OTB TV on Time Warner Cable Channel 1250, delivering each day the best racing across the country and around the world, whether it's Saratoga or Belmont here in New York, Florida's Gulfstream Park, or California's Del Mar and Santa Anita race courses. No other network brings you the grandeur of horse racing like OTB TV on Time Warner Cable Channel 1250.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Asano, and Barbados, for one of last week's guests, Mike Tomlinson with Luis Saez, had to work to reel in loose on the lead XY Jet to capture the Hutchison. Unfortunately, Barbados suffered a very minor non-displaced fracture. He is scheduled to have surgery and will be out for about 2 to 3 months. Our first guest this morning will be bringing back runaway Breeders' Cup Juvenile hero Texas Red in tomorrow's San Vicente. We welcome in live via telephone Mr. Keith Desormeaux. Keith, Mark Casano welcoming you back to Down the Stretch.
Hey, good morning, and I hope the same results don't come about in the same manner as the last time you called me.
Keith, before we get to Texas Red and watch the Juvenile, he finished a close second behind American Pharoah in the voting for champion 2-year-old male. What were your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I was very confident that he would win, but I guess that I'm not the most experienced in these kind of competitions. It's the first time we've ever received a nomination for an Eclipse Award, so we're very honored. But that's the first one, and the feel that I got from the people who vote, the turf riders, the racing secretaries, they were all very confident. So it was disappointing, but it's not career-ending by any means, and we'll just move on and try to get those honors this year.
That sounds good. Well, our audience is about to take a look once again at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. For our audience, Texas Red, number 7 in here. Keith, tell us what life has been like for Texas Red since the Breeders' Cup. What's his schedule been like?
Oh, initially after the Breeders' Cup, it was total R&R. We backed off of him. Still light training, very light, but he walked 2 or 3 days a week, jogged and galloped the rest. Tried to make him as comfortable and happy as possible. Of course, we do that with all our athletes, but he was on a little bit lighter schedule. We did that for 45 days and cranked him up around December 15th. And as you can see, he's been working steadily since then.
Keith, has he changed much since we last saw him here on November 1st?
I think he has. You know, when you're around the horse every day, you don't see the change as much. But yes, he put on weight after the race, which is normal since we backed off his training. But he has gained weight and muscle. He's grown a bit. He's probably added another inch to his height, and he's wider. So in every aspect, yes, he's bigger. But that's also expected. He's still a growing 2-year-old, 3-year-old now. It is also what is the word? It's part of his pedigree. Fleet Alexes are usually large, growthy horses, so he's still growing into himself. He's going to be a big dude.
You know, I just happened to notice this. All the times that I've looked at his past performances, he only cost $17,000. Were you involved in the purchase?
Of course. I buy all my young horses. I want the blame for a non-performance on me, not anybody else. But that's beautiful. 17,000. Goodness, that's what keeps us in the game. That's what makes it. That's what gives the common man a chance to compete at the highest level. I think it's about where we're from. You know, people love stories like that. Yeah. Him, along with California Chrome, is another great story. So it's what keeps us fighting. And these kind of horses are the ones that prove there is a chance for anyone in this game.
That's very well put. You know, Keith, what'd you like about him? 17, you can't even buy an automobile for $17,000. What did you like? What'd you like so much about him initially?
Well, man, when you're looking at horses your whole life, and your income and your success is dependent on the decisions that you made, and as far as analyzing horse flesh, I would think after all these years I've learned something. But this horse had all the tools physically, size, conformation, balance, very important balance. Also very important his look of intelligence and class. He had it all. The reason I got him for 17 is that I think his sire, Fleet Alex, was a bit on the cold side. Of course, hopefully we're going to change that. Yeah. And the mare, she had produced 4 or 5 foals, no stakes winners. So although she was stakes placed in a successful racehorse herself, and out of a very important Nureyev broodmare line, she hadn't produced anything of significance at that point. So I just got lucky. Cold sire, cold dam, but awesome physically.
That's great. When you were last on the show with us, it was the first Saturday in December. You had pretty much already selected the San Vicente for his 3-year-old debut. But you told us that day, look it, don't expect too much in the San Vicente. It's just a starting point. I'm not going to have him wound too tight. Keith, has anything changed since we last had you on the show?
You know, that is true, and we've continued with that theme in his training. But 2 weeks ago, we worked him from the gates, and I don't know if you got to see that or not, but it was a very eventful work. He worked with 2 other young horses that dropped off after 5/8 or maybe a half, and then a fresh horse joined in for the last half of this 6-furlong work. And it was just a sight to behold, the way he put away the first 2 in his group, and then the fresh horse hooks him, and Texas Red just bears down again on the inside and outworks the fresh horse as well. and finished the last quarter in sub 23. It was right at 23 flat, so it was just a beautiful sight to behold, and it made me believe that he might be ready to show something in his first start. I think he's fit enough. I do think he's fit enough, but I really haven't pushed him except for that work. You can see that the other works are average at best. But that one does make me think that, well, I know that the horse is fit enough. The question is he fast enough?
Let's talk about the schedule which you've selected for his 3 races leading up to the Derby. This is fascinating to me, and I think it's fair to say somewhat unorthodox. You're going to begin tomorrow, February 1st, with the San Vicente. You're going to come back with them less than 3 weeks later for the Risen Star. Talk about that. Why that setup?
There's a couple of easy explanations. First of all, yes, it is back quickly in 3 weeks, but I have the option to change that, being that the Bob Lewis is a week later, 2 weeks after the Risen Star. So if I don't like the way the horse recovers from the San Vicente, I don't have to go to New Orleans. It's not a big deal. But I do like, I don't mind the 3 week turnaround at all, especially he's coming off of a 3-month layoff. The race is here in California in our backyard. It's 7/8. To me, it's a building block. We work. We give them strong work and then come back and run them the next week. So what's wrong with a race and then turning around and running 3 weeks later? I don't think that's a stretch at all. So I like the timing. He comes back in 3 weeks, and then we get a nice big 6-week break before the Santa Anita Derby. It feels perfect to me.
That's terrific. I was wondering, did you have any concerns? Because not only is the Risen Star back in 20 days, but you've got to ship from California to Louisiana. Is that any kind of concern?
Not at all, because he won't get on a plane until he's fully recovered and showing me in his training, his eating habits, his overall health. As long as he's recovered in that 2-week period after the San Vicente, getting on a plane will not be an issue, not at all.
Okay, and the backup plan, just in case you're not thrilled with the way he's doing coming out of the San Vicente, is to wait, and you've got the San Felipe on March 7th, so that would be the backup plan?
Right. I think I said the Bob Lewis, but you're right, the San Felipe on March 7th, if things don't go as planned in preparation for the Risen Star.
So, Keith, at this point, as we sit here chatting on January 31st, how pleased are you with where Texas Red is at this point? Healthy, doing well, how pleased are you?
Can't be any, I couldn't have asked for a better rest and recovery and training in preparation for tomorrow. The horse is fit, just like I had just like I just told you. He's fit enough, strong enough, healthy enough, fresh enough to go through this. Hopefully this Derby preparation and Triple Crown adventure. You know, we can't. I'm trying to be careful and not just writing it in stone. I don't want that to be a part of my mindset. I'm thankful that we're at this point, and I'm hopeful, and I'm doing everything to prepare him for a big couple of months. But it's surely not written in stone. He has to prove it on the track. But health, fitness, freshness, it's all there. We're ready to go.
That's wonderful. Before we let you go, one final question. Update us on your nice, now 3-year-old filly, Danette, who was a troubled 5th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. How's she doing? Oh,
she's great. We gave her, we pushed her as well through throughout her 2-year-old year and into the meet here. And she gave us another fine performance 2 or 3 weeks ago, but we decided after that to just give her a chance to freshen a little, and hopefully we'll be making a dent in these 3-year-old stakes, filly stakes later on in the spring.
Well, Keith, as always, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch, and we want to wish you all the best bringing Texas Red back tomorrow in the San Vicente. Hopefully this will be a very exciting few months leading up to the first Saturday in May, and we look forward to speaking with you again very soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Keith Desormeaux, ladies and gentlemen, the trainer of Breeders' Cup Juvenile Hero, Texas Red. And we are up to our next break. When we return, Mr. Mike Maker will join us as we go to the break. The Forward Gal 3-year-old fillies going 7/8, and the 2-to-1 favorite, number 5, Sedure, shipping in from Southern California for Hall of Famer Jerry Hollendorfer. So we will take a look at the Forward Gal to the break. Back with Mike Maker right after these messages.
They're racing in the Forward Gal. Bit of an awkward start there for Mama Mia Maria, and a good beginning for Akati's Phaeton. Akati's Phaeton and Enchantress go out to the lead. Sid Dwyer is right there to the inside of them. These three in a line early on. And then it's Distinto away running in fourth. By the Moon is fifth. Moving up between horses is Taylor S. Taylor S now on the charge and up into fourth as they head up the back stretch. Then Last of the Mohicans. Mama Mia Maria's after that. Skipaloot to the outside, and far behind are Bird at the Wire and Tripoca as they head up the back stretch in 22 and 2/5 seconds. Enchantress on the outside, Sid Dwyer along the rail. These two necks apart on the lead. And then it's Akati's Phaeton running in third just off of them. Distinta squeezing through on the inside. Taylor S is in tight. By the Moon is going up on the far outside with a 4-wide sweep. And here's By the Moon rushing up on the outside to take the lead. It's now By the Moon in front. Akati's Phaeton, Enchantress, Sid Dwyer is down on the inside. Distinta looks for running room. And then comes Taylor S. And on the far outside, Bird at the Wire from far behind is charging. And here's Bird at the Wire. Bird at the Wire and Erod Ortiz Jr. have taken the lead, and they're pulling away as Last of the Mohicans rallies late on the far outside. Coming down to the line, Bird at the Wire scores in the Forward Gal over Last of the Mohicans. Then a photo between Taylor S. and Akati's Phaeton.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Cassano. My thanks to Keith Desormeaux once again for having joined us. And Bird at the Wire for Dale Romans and Erod Ortiz Jr. circles the field and wins going away by 3 1/4 lengths over Last of the Mohicans and Taylor S. to upset the Forward Gal. Our next guest, speaking of upsets, he upset the LeCompte a few weeks ago with International Star. Today he's going to try to upset the Sam Davis with Coomer. We welcome in live via telephone Mr. Mike Maker. Mark Cassano welcoming you back to Down the Stretch.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Nice to have you back. Mike, we are about to take a look, going to go back and take a look at the LeCompte. And for our audience, International Star, number 1, breaking from the rail. despite some traffic trouble in the stretch, he's going to roll here to an upset. Mike, talk about this performance, if you would.
I was very pleased with it. You know, like you said, he got some traffic trouble. There were some anxious moments in the stretch there, but when he got out, he accelerated and opened up nicely. And you know, I've always felt this colt will improve as the distances increase, and you know, I think he proved it there.
Mike, this appeared to be a major move forward from the Kentucky Jockey Club. Let's face it, he didn't run badly in the Jockey Club, but Eagle went by him, you know, pretty easily in the stretch run that day. This day, he left them all in his wake. Was this the best race of his career?
I think it was. You know, we might have come back a little quicker than we should have, you know, coming off the Breeders' Cup. And, you know, he like you said, he ran well that day, but could have ran better. So I agree. His best race by far.
Had he given you any indications, you know, training in the mornings, that a performance like this was in him?
Yeah, you know, we had him very early in his 2-year-old year, and we had high hopes for him all along. So, you know, it wasn't surprising at all.
Mike, take a moment as we watch him rally now inside the 16th pole to win. Take a couple of moments for our audience. Describe him physically, and what's he like mentally to work with?
He's a very professional horse. He's a bit on the feminine side and doesn't carry any extra flesh. But, you know, he's very laid back, push-button horse to train. You know, if you want him to work slow, he works slow. If you want him to work quick, you know, he's just very easy to get along with.
Mike, how'd he come out of the LeCompte, and what's next for International Star?
Came out of the LeCompte fine. If I have any knock on him, he may have lost a little weight. Like I said, he doesn't carry any extra flesh. So, you know, logical step is the Risen Star, but we haven't etched that in stone yet.
All right, today, the Sam Davis, you've got Coomer as our audience, watches him break his maiden in his second career start in last. For our audience, he is number 4 in here. You claimed him out of his debut at Keeneland, and that's always fascinating to me, Mike, when somebody claims a horse when they've never raced. What did you like about him that you went and claimed him out of his debut?
I liked his looks. Mr. Ramsey liked his pedigree. You know, he's a big, scopy horse that, you know, we felt that, you know, could be a 2-turn horse. And, you know, it's proven true. He's another horse I think going to improve when the distances increase. And, you know, the only thing that's filled at Gulfstream where he's been stabled is a 1-turn mile, and I don't think that's his cup of tea. And so we decided to throw him to the Wolves and see where we're at. But, you know, some of these other lands at Gulfstream going 2 turns and so forth can come up with stakes caliber horses. So obviously the Sam Davis carries a bigger person than any other land.
So now you've had him for a while. You know, what are your impressions of him now that he's been in your barn?
I think he's a quality horse. You know, he's a horse that's going to continue to improve with his races, and I think he's got a big one sitting in him today. But having said that, he's going to need it.
Yeah, well, of course he's going to need it. I mean, this was against 50,000 maiden claimers. Today's the Sam Davis. But as they come through the stretch here, you know, Mike, the first time I watched this race on video, I didn't think he was going to win, even at the 3/8 pole. I mean, what did you think of this performance?
No, he's a bit lazy horse, and I agree with you. When I watched, I was surprised that we were even going to beat a horse, but Julian said he just needed a bit more encouragement, and then he decided, he said, oh, okay, you want me to run now, and just took off. So.
How's he doing coming up to the Sam Davis? His last work was a bullet, which is, you know, you would think is somewhat unusual for a lazy horse who, you know, comes from well off the pace.
No, it is. Like I said, he's moved forward off that race, and every work he continues to improve. So we're going to take a shot today and see what happens.
All right, you've got a couple of other 3-year-olds this afternoon for the 96 Rock Stakes at Turfway. You've got Serious Talk making his first start for you. What can you tell us about Serious Talk? We
haven't had him that long. He was a private purchase. We've had a chance to work him once at Gulfstream and then ship him over to Turfway. But, he's, we like what we've seen so far, and I think he fits well in there. Leslie's horse stubs his toe.
Two-Step Temper moves from turf to the poly. Talk about that move.
Well, I don't think he'll, I think he fits well too. There again, the other vans are a little tougher at Gulfstream, and I think the stake race coming up at Turfway, Manny Andrade stands Flamin' Hot Salsa, so we're looking to try to get a stake placing or stakes win for the sire.
Today at Gulfstream, the feature is the Alan Jerkins Turf Marathon, and you have Royal Blessing. What do you think going 2 miles?
It's his cup of tea. Woodbine, we ran him at Woodbine in the Valley Victoria, going a mile and 3/4 off the claim. He ran a great race. The stewards decided differently and kicked us down a notch, but I think the 2 miles is a very good distance for him.
Let's talk about a couple of recent winners you've had. Coalport won his 3rd in a row recently in the Connolly Turf Cup. How's he doing, and what's next for him?
He's doing well. I think we're going to point him to the Marvin Muniz next out at the fairgrounds. Came out of the race good and obviously in top form.
And earlier this week in Florida at OBS, Fire Spike looked good winning a 2-turn race. He appears to be, I think it's fair to say at this point, a synthetic type of horse. What'd you think about the effort, and what's next for Fire Spike?
Yes, he won very impressive. Had a slow pace, still close from last to win easily. I think we're going to try the John Battaglia at Turfway next.
And finally, Mike, some of your main owners, Ken and Sarah Ramsey, they won their 4th Eclipse for Outstanding Owner recently. How's that make you feel? What's that mean to you?
Well, we appreciate their support. And, his enthusiasm and love for the game is second to none, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. And, hopefully we got a good start on number 5.
Well, Mike, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. All the best with Coomer. Later this afternoon in the Sam Davis, we'll be looking for International Star again very soon, and we hope to be speaking with you again very soon.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mike. Mike Baker, ladies and gentlemen, with Coomer in this afternoon, Sam Davis. And we are up to our final break. When we return, we will welcome a first-timer to the program, Mr. Chad Stewart. As we go to this break, the Riley Allison Stakes at Sunland. Why, you ask? Well, a possible prep for the Sunland Derby saw Cinco Charlie number 1. Now, he's a very nice sprinter. He's a multiple stakes winning sprinter. He was being stretched out to 2 turns here in the Riley Allison Stakes. So we will take a look at Cinco Charlie going to the break. We will be back with Chad Stewart right after these messages.
All in. Locked up. And they're off. Cinco Charlie began the best on the inside and is going to hold that lead in the early part. And up on the outer goes Mr. Bull to You, racing wide as Pasamonte as they head out the stretch and applying some pressure to Cinco Charlie, but is speeding along beautifully. Cinco Charlie by 1, Mr. Bull to You in second, on the outside Pasamonte. With the run of the race early, Dirt Monster, Takagwunga in 4th, 3 lengths to win for the money, and last is Made Me Talk. Into the backstretch as they whipped through that first quarter in 21 and 4. And the leader is Cinco Charlie by about a long neck to Pasamonte. They've gone out by 4.5 lengths. Dirt Monster with the ears pricked, travelling well in third. A length away, Mr. Bull to You, and they've come clear. Made Me Talk, In for the Money, has pulled out the race and will not take any further part, so In for the Money is no longer a participant. They head to the half mile. Cinco Charlie, a length and a half, Pasamonte. Dirt Monster creeping closer, but Cinco Charlie now 2 in front. Dirt Monster runs to a clear second, setting sail after this leader. Back to third, Pasamonte. Running on is Made Me Talk on the outside and is coming with a nice move. And last is now, well, Mr. Bull to You's gone up on the inside of Pasamonte. Cinco Charlie by 1. In second placing and under pressure for the first time, Dirt Monster. And Cinco Charlie's got away. Made Me Talk's running a huge race. Made Me Talk coming on the outside, top of the stretch. And Cinco Charlie leads for home in the rally, Allison. A length to Made Me Talk on the outside. And Made Me Talk issuing a bit of a threat. Cinco Charlie gets away now. And there is a look around to the right, a look to the left. And that's enough. And Casey Lambert says no more playing. And it's time for some serious action. And Cinco Charlie waltzes in. 6.5 lengths. Made Me Talk second, third Dirt Monster, and fourth Mr. Bull to You.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Face it. Most horse racing websites are just too much clutter, too much to navigate through. Next time, log on to capitalotb.com. Our newly designed website is easier than ever to use, with all the information the professional horse player needs. capitalotb.com.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to capitalotb.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. capitalotb.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Asano. My thanks to Mike Maker once again for having joined us. And Cinco Charlie for Steve Asmussen, Casey Lambert. Well, you know, he had no trouble against that kind of field, stretching out around 2 turns as he wins by 8.5. The Mind That Bird Stakes may be next. We are waiting for Chad Stewart. He just needed a couple of minutes. So this being live television, we're going to change things around a little bit. And going to talk to you about some of the stakes around the country this afternoon. Today, this is really a quiet day at Gulfstream Park. The 2-mile Turf Marathon Allen Jerkins, the feature race on the card. But at Tampa Bay Downs, the Sam Davis, we'll talk to Chad Stewart in just a couple of moments. Maybe the most interesting horse in this race, My Johnny Be Good from Owen Hardy. Second 2 back behind Eagle. You know, prior to that one regressing in Lecomte, My Johnny Be Good is by Colonel John. Owen sprinted him at Tampa Bay Downs last time, and he won by 14. He has worked extremely well for this. We actually tried to get Owen on the show this morning, but unfortunately for us, he was doing something for Tampa during this hour. So that's going to be interesting for me to watch My Johnny Be Good this afternoon in the Sam Davis. At Santa Anita, a week edition of the Grade 1 Las Virgenes. And I've been saying weak Grade 1s for a number of years on this show. You know, regional Grade 1s are becoming the norm rather than a rarity for these regional Grade 1s to be weak. So the Las Virgenes this afternoon, and then the San Vicente featuring Texas Red tomorrow. Today at Oak Lawn Park, champion Take Charge Brandy makes her 3-year-old debut in the Martha Washington. Now, I had absolutely no trouble voting for her as the top 2-year-old filly of 2014. But that doesn't necessarily mean I think she's going to be the top 3-year-old filly of 2015. Now, she looks well spotted today against that field, but she's going to have to prove to me as a 3-year-old that she can continue to move forward and race in the upper echelon. Again, here in New York, Aqueduct has canceled its Saturday card. Finally, Thunder Gulch, the champion 3-year-old and Kentucky Derby winner of 1995 has been pensioned. According to Blood Horse, Thunder Gulch, the leading sire of 2001, sired 96 stakes winners worldwide, with his best runner being Horse of the Year, point given. Thunder Gulch is 23 years old. All right, our final guest this morning. He's a first-timer to the program. He's going to be sending out a pair in this afternoon, Sam Davis in Catalina Red and Bandages. We welcome live via telephone Mr. Chad Stewart. Chad, Mark Casano welcoming you to Down the Stretch.
Hey, great talking to you. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's very nice to have you. Chad is a first-timer to the program. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself, if you would.
Yeah, Chad Stewart. I live in Ocala, Florida. We have a training center there, my wife and I, and we have 3 boys that are in school, and we break about 35 babies a year. And we get a lot of horses for layup, and people send us for horses to have a little fun in the sun, get out of the wintry north, and and I've been doing this since I was about 14, and I'm 50 now, so been doing this a long time.
That's wonderful. Chad, by the way, how's the weather on the west coast of Florida this morning?
It's beautiful right now. It's probably 65, 68 degrees, sunny. Couldn't ask for a prettier day. It's supposed to be only around 70 today, so It's a beautiful day.
Okay, only around 70. We're supposed to top off at about 13 or 14, so please don't say only 70. All right, let's talk Catalina Red. He broke his maiden in his 4th career start here in the inaugural stakes, and as we pick it up for our audience, he is number 4, 3rd on the inside. Chad, talk about the early progress he made leading up to this breakthrough victory.
We knew he was a nice colt from the beginning, and it wasn't really by design that we had him in the on the turf, where our farm's at about 4 hours north of Miami, and I had another colt running, and I tried to get Catalina Red in on the dirt, and the race didn't go. And there was this race on the turf, and being out of a Freud mare, I figured, well, he probably maybe liked the turf a little bit, and we've got a mile turf course on our farm, and he trained and had breezed on the turf, so he got along with it well. So I put him in, and we ran him a couple times on the turf, and we really wanted to, see how he did on the dirt. So when the next race came up at Calder over there, we ran him on the dirt, and he ran a really good race, and had a lot of trouble that day and should have won. So when we ran him in the stake, I wasn't really too, afraid about running the maiden in there, because he shouldn't have been a maiden. And he's just been progressing, getting stronger and bigger every time we run him.
That's wonderful. In a moment, we're going to have a shot of Catalina Red on the screen for our audience. Chad, take a moment to describe him physically for our audience, and what's he like mentally to work with?
Physically, he's a very, he's a bigger horse than he appears. When you look at him, he doesn't look real big, but you get right up next to him, he's right at 16 hands tall. He's just a really perfect body. He's very well muscles. Got a good long body, good long walk. Mentally, he is just super. He's very calm and cool about everything. Nothing upsets him. We ship him to run, and he just gets on the van in the morning, comes on down to the racetrack. It doesn't matter if it's at Gulfstream or Calder or Tampa, and just chills out and settles in here. Like today, the receiving barn's full. There's about 60-some horses over in the receiving barn. There's a lot of commotion. He just stand there with his head down, relaxing.
That's great. Chad, his last start resulted in a stakes record performance in the Pasco. For our audience, Catalina Red, number 4 in here. he is going to run down XY Jet, who ran so well last Saturday in the Hutchison. Talk about this effort, if you would.
Well, you know, when we ran him in the inaugural, he set a new stakes record that day. And then that was going 6 furlongs. And when we ran him back in the Pasco, we knew that XY Jet was going to be really good. He went to Navarro, who's a super trainer, especially first time out with him. And Danny, it didn't look like it, but then he watched replay close. Santino said after the race, he says, you know, I had this horse about any time I wanted. And I said, it would have been nice if you'd done that about 100 feet sooner, taking all the pressure off. But, but he galloped out really good, and Danny said, you know, stretching out shouldn't be a problem for him. And he came out of the race great. He really came out of the race bouncing and feeling good, and he's had 2 really good breezes since then. And you know, the key is, you know, if he can get the distance. If he can get the distance, he'll be awful tough.
Now, you have drawn the rail this afternoon in a pretty good size field. You've got a colt who obviously has natural speed. Talk about strategy.
You know, it's going to be pretty hard to keep him off the lead. You know, it's going to be, I mean, ideally we'd like to be able to set right off the lead, but you know how it is drawing the rail. And I think he's maybe the speed of the speed. You know, so we're going to just let him bounce away from there and, you know, and probably just go to the front, and unless somebody else wants it a lot worse than we do.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
well, you also will be running recent maiden winner Bandages in the Sam Davis. Here he is breaking his maiden. He is number 3 in here for our audience. Tell us about Bandages.
Bandage is a nice colt. He's got the pedigree to go 2 turns. His mother, I had his mother and his grandmother. I claimed his grandmother in 1993 at Churchill. And he's out of a nice family. He's got a half-brother who made about $800,000 and won a grade 3. He won the Cornhusker handicap, going a mile in the 16th. So distance shouldn't be a problem with him. You know, he's a little bit light in experience, but he is training super too. I mean, having 2 horses going into this race is his training is as well as they are is a blessing.
Bandages is a bit of an unusual name for a racehorse. Anything to this name?
Yes, it is. It's a cute name. Mr. Phelps, World Thoroughbreds, that owns him, he always comes up with cute, clever names for his horses. And Bandages, when he was young, he had ran through a fence and got his leg all cut up, so he had to have bandages on for about a month. Well, what it done is left not scars, but his hair where he had the cuts out on his leg came back white. So that's how he came up with the name Bandages, because he had to have bandages on quite a bit. And then when you look at his legs, you can see the all the white hair that grew back where he had some cuts and stuff on his leg.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that story, Chad, and thank you for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. We appreciate it. All the best later on with Catalina Red and Bandages in the Sam F. Davis.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and you have a great day. And stay warm.
Well, I don't know if that's possible, but thank you very much.
Well, hey, we'll wave at you in the winner's circle today.
Okay, do that. Chad Stewart, ladies and gentlemen. All right, time to wrap things up. Time to thank all the folks who helped get this week's show on the air here at the studios of the Clubhouse Racebook in Albany. Our associate producer, Julie Hoxie, as well as Dan Hayes. Back in the control room in Schenectady, Pat Peretta at his normal spot directing, Dino Contonacci on audio. Thanks to this morning's guests, Chad Stewart, Mike Maker, and Keith Desormeaux. And thanks to our sponsor, Gulfstream Park, where today's feature is the Alan Jerkins Turf Marathon. Gulfstream Park champions start here. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. As Chad Stewart just said, stay warm, have a wonderful weekend, and a terrific upcoming week. And from all of us here at Down the Stretch, we'll see you next week.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.